The Texas state legislature is sitting on a more than $30 billion budget surplus this year. Now the Ag Department is looking for some of that fund for their rural mental health hotline. In-depth reporter Alicia Nespreto tells us why they say it's a life-saving resource for farmers.
Being a farmer or rancher can come with many mental struggles that others might not completely understand.
They're a very proud bunch. They're very self-reliant. They're very reluctant to reach out and get help and talk to someone.
The Texas Department of Agriculture is hoping to make getting help a little easier with their rural mental health hotline.
We have so far talked to 60 people out of committing suicide.
AgriSafe was started just last year with a one-time federal grant. Now the department is seeking a recurring $500,000 from the state each year to keep it running.
It sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. When you have a $32 billion surplus, it's not a lot of money, but it does provide a great service for the money we spend on it.
All of our call staff have been educated about agriculture. They receive extensive education about the factors that impact mental well-being in ag, as well as a focused, for the state of Texas, they get a focused training on what is agriculture like in Texas.
Commissioner Miller says people living in rural communities face different troubles than their urban neighbors. This can make it difficult to find therapists or people who can understand, which is why agri-stress is so important.
What happens to these farmers, they may be a 7th, 8th generation family on this family farm, and they may have lost 3 crops in a row. There's no option at the bank. They just don't see any way out without, selling off the family legacy. So it's a tremendous amount of strain on them.
A lack of resources for the ag community is an issue not just here in Texas, but all across the country.
I wanted to be a resource for people to turn to whenever things are tough for them.
In 2019, cattle rancher Jason Meadows started an Ag State of Mind podcast to have these difficult conversations.
I had struggled myself and had done all the things that was on the way to getting better. And I felt kind of maybe an obligation a little bit to help others.
He says living a rural lifestyle can get lonely, and if you're struggling with your mental health, it's easy to focus on negative thoughts.
That time spent alone in the truck or in the field or whatever, your thoughts can go some pretty dark places, and especially if you haven't trained your mind to mitigate those things.
With hundreds of thousands of listeners from all over the country, Meadows hopes to show people they are not alone in their mental health struggles and offer guidance to move forward.
The biggest thing is there's just so much out of your control, seeming like, and you put your faith in something and sometimes that doesn't pan out, and it's really hard to deal with. It's really hard to live with.
And when life does get hard, he says there should be no shame in reaching out for help.
With your feelings, I like to talk about it like a log in waters. You take a log and you push that log further and further underwater, the harder it's going to be to keep underwater, right? Until all of a sudden it explodes, and it can be some really serious stuff.
It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be tough and rugged and do the work that you need to do, but it's also okay to reach out to someone because they may have a suggestion for a solution that you hadn't thought about.
Alicia Nespreto, KRHD News.
If you are a farmer or rancher in need of mental help, you can call that hotline at 833-897-2474.